What's up, everybody? If you are listening to this, then that means you clicked on our podcast and you wanted to listen to the first episode. And yeah, thank you for clicking on that. I wanted to offer a quick message before I actually play what you're about to hear, which is the unofficial first episode of the podcast. I basically wanted to say that episodes after this first one are going to sound completely different and much better than the one you're about to hear. And that's because the episode that I'm about to play for you guys was recorded with sort of a made-up technique that I just came up with. I put a recorder on a tripod, and we sat around it and had a conversation. So I didn't want you to be, scared away from the quality that you're going to hear. I only strive for at least average. We go for above average here, but we'll see what we can do. I still wanted to go ahead and post the first episode that we recorded for you guys, mostly because in that conversation, the conversation that we had that you're about to hear, I found it really interesting that we essentially took someone that we thought we knew pretty well, and we definitely thought we knew everything there is to know about them. We sat down, we talked for an hour, and by the end of that hour, we had an almost completely different viewpoint on what that person's life actually was. So go ahead and keep listening. I'm going to play the episode. Just know that episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through infinity are going to sound a lot more like this. Please enjoy this first episode entitled The Enigma of Luke. What's up, everybody? What's going on? You're probably listening to this on my website or maybe on SoundCloud. This is the first experimental episode of the Wild Wolf podcast.
First one
it's
never
the
got
second,
published.
Yeah, it's the first episode because
it should never be published.
we already sat down and talked to the man, our guest here today, for a little bit, and the things that were said were funny, but not.
They can't be put on the internet ever.
Yeah.
Again.
or ever repeated.
It got pretty intense.
We're just gonna leave that aside and we're gonna move on.
If you have any questions about it, just ask Jordan later sometime.
There's a contact me tab on the website. Anyway, the reason I wanted to do a podcast is because I got inspired by a podcast that I like. And also Wild Wolf Films is about telling stories and trying to be relatable to humans and tell interesting stories and understand how people think and feel. And so today we have one of our most complex friends, Luke Voeller.
Hi, everyone.
We're going to try to get into the inside of his mind and just have a conversation about what Luke experiences on a day-to-day basis. Because he's an interesting guy, and he's funny, and he has some good stories. Do you want to introduce?
Well, Luke,
Do you want to say who you are?
Well, yeah, I'm a friend of Jordan and Luke's. I am Mitchell Broughton, and I am really glad to be a part of this journey of entering Luke's mind. I think that Luke is an entity that
an enigma, if you will.
An enigma. I think that there's much to discover within the depths of his brain, and that's what we're trying to do today. So,
He seems a little overwhelmed, but I think...
Yeah, he's just got to calm down for a second.
Just to start off that way.
Okay, well, we'll start off really light and see what happens. You just said, just before we hit record, you were talking about it would be an interesting story if somebody hid a knife or a gun or something in a Pringles can.
That's how we're going. This is not even going to be able to be made.
Well, you brought it up.
I mean, it's just a story. Movies have violence and that stuff. So I want you to pitch me an interesting story.
So we'll just say it doesn't have to be a gun or a knife or something like that. It could be like a gold bar. But so anyway,
I like that.
Okay,
so
well,
Pringles, they come in the can. So my idea would be you put the gold bar in a can, random can. It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So Pringles Incorporated is doing
here's
this?
what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
is fake.
The ticket, first of all, is fictional, yes. Would never happen. Second of all, the tickets in the chocolate bars are unrecognizable because they weigh the same thing as the chocolate bar. And you're proposing that we put a gold bar in a Pringle can, which first of all wouldn't let there be room for any Pringles. Second of all,
no, but that's
would
the point.
be way heavier than any other can. It'd be so easy to tell where the gold bar is.
But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so they switch it up, so only specific cans have them. And all those cans,
I
you
understand.
We
spend
got it.
you spend $1, and all of them are either filled with rocks or a gold bar.
Okay, well, what about the actual Pringles? Do they not sell Pringles?
No, they don't.
anymore?
No, they sell Pringles, but this is like a special for a 1 month if anyone can find
Why?
it.
Okay.
Why
Why
would
think
someone-
about the odds. Yeah. Why?
That's
would,
just then Pringles is like, okay, now it's just a lottery.
It's a rock
if you're
company.
buying a Pringle can, not only you're not buying chips anymore, you're buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah, you are buying a lottery. No, but here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
They send out 12. Every person that gets a bar gets invited to this big dinner party. You know.
Do they even
With-
get the gold bar?
with-
No, they
Mr.
get all the gold, but they have to go through a challenge, and it ends
But
with
couldn't they run away? They have a gold bar in their hands in a can.
Yeah, they don't even have to say that they found it.
yeah. But I mean, would you rather? I mean,
Would
it's
you
like-
rather?
Why would I go through a challenge that if I lose,
No, but
I
they
have to
don't. They
give
don't
the
know that
gold-
it's a challenge. It's like you're invited to like this really rich guy's mansion.
All right, I'm gonna stop you right there. We went from there's a weapon inside.
to a,
And-
a
and-
dystopian.
Yeah, well, hold on. We went from a weapon inside that was supposed to be found by a serial killer that is supposed to kill someone with the weapon inside of this Pringle can. Which, first of all, that weighs way more than a Pringle can, too. And now you're suggesting basically a spoof of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I just don't know what you mean. I just don't know
Okay,
what
have you
direction
ever
want to
seen?
take
Have
this
you
in.
ever seen the movie? It's a horror film. It's called Would You Rather.
No.
No.
Okay, so that's pretty much all these people go to a dinner table and they're invited, and if you go through all these like really dangerous challenges as they eat dinner, like one of them is you pull cards and you have to do whatever the card says, or you can be dunked your head in a barrel for 2 minutes and you have to survive. And so like one of them, like the guy chooses the card instead of dunking his head in a barrel, and he has to hold a live stick of dynamite and then light it, and like just challenges like that. Winner
Is that a
takes all.
challenge or does he die?
No, he got killed. But
So it's not a challenge. So if you don't dunk your head in the water, you die. Well, you pick a card and you probably die.
no, like there's one guy, he just had to, he picked the card and he had to cut his eye with a razor
Oh.
blade.
Oh.
Okay, so he doesn't. Sometimes you
He
don't-
had to do it himself.
and you can't leave this place.
I mean, in the movie, people try to leave, and the bodyguards that are there like shoot just one of them, and they all stop.
So
Well,
now,
here's the
hold on,
thing,
wait,
I would-
wait, okay.
I would almost definitely rather just try and run away and get shot by this bodyguard and die.
Yeah, so would I, but that's not.
So
that's
your
not the point of the
idea-
movie.
The point of the movie is that you want these people to suffer. If you were
No.
in this movie, would you suffer yourself?
No,
Jesus.
I'd rather just get it over. with.
Jeez. Okay.
well,
No.
We just watched Luke do a visual representation of a gun. in his
Yeah.
head.
All right. I'm just gonna say we're gonna change the topic. That was a mistake to go into, but we gave you something is hidden inside a Pringle can. And you
Can you just
basically
get-
came up
okay.
with
What is
Pringles
would you rather have to-
tortures.
So
their
yeah, so you want
customers.
So you're suggesting that
no,
if
that's
these
not
people
it.
find a gold bar in a Pringle can, as opposed to buying a Pringle can and getting rocks.
Then
And-
then they have to secretly, against their will, get locked in a rich guy's mansion, probably Dr. Pringle's mansion.
I'd
Yeah,
like you
Mr.
to edit this
Mr.
whole segment.
No,
out of the
you said it.
podcast.
Okay, the reason the last one we couldn't post was because Luke said a lot of things. And so there was one rule going into this re-recording, which is
Please
just
don't say anything.
censor yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll just. Can we just start over then?
We're keeping
No.
that in. That was funny.
No,
I would
okay,
keep
okay.
that in.
Okay.
There's nothing that bad in that.
No, but I don't like if someone else that I know watches this.
You can't.
and they
Okay,
Find out,
you agree to be in a podcast about yourself. You show
Yeah.
up. You know we're recording. Anything you say,
Yeah, Luke, I'm sorry, man. This is that. There's no other chance for you. You really just gotta know. What
just
you're
start
saying.
thinking. Would I want my mom to listen to me say that?
No, but it started off okay, and then you guys
You're the one who
you guys
made it go
bended it.
You said.
You
You said.
bent
Have
it.
you ever seen the movie Would You Rather? And at that point, I was like, "Where is this going, Luke?
No, it got so
Should
graphic.
we censor you if we feel you going into a topic?
What's
like
the
that?
safe word? We'll have a safe word where we're like stop immediately.
in the shell peanuts.
Eating the
In the
shell
shell
peanuts.
In the shell peanuts. I feel like if you say that fast, like we are going to, and it's a safe word, it's gonna sound like something else. Maybe we should switch
You're right.
it.
let's change it to give us another one. What's your second favorite safe word, Luke?
Out of shell peanuts.
Out of shell peanuts.
No,
It's too basic.
Okay, this is ridiculous. Just the safe word is lamp because I'm looking at a lamp right now.
Okay.
Safe word is lamp. We say lamp.
You drop it, and you don't
Drop
say
this
one
in.
more thing. You just drop it.
Okay.
Listen to us lecture you.
Okay. Is there anything you want to talk about immediately that's not like the thing you really want to talk about right now?
Oh, okay. So I promised I had some good stories.
Yeah, let's start out with the stories.
So, oh man, where do I start? So, so over Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
went up to Montana, saw my relatives,
Okay.
had a great old time.
Grand old time, yeah.
Grand old time, okay. And I wasn't supposed to ski, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna ski. Because I had a broken collarbone, so I wasn't supposed to ski. But I said, fuck it. So,
Let's
Lamp. Lamp.
let's just try not to curse, because just imagine this is going on my company's website, and I'm gonna be like, guys, go listen to the podcast, and it's gonna I just want it to be nice and friendly,
So okay. So anyway, we're not gonna say who it was in my family, but we were all at their house, and a certain someone, they were telling a story. It was pretty late at night. They were just telling a story about I can't remember exactly how it got to it, but they were going to a house party, right?
Okay.
This person and her boyfriend, and we'll just say that one of their friends told them that they were like, oh hey, we'll bring the stuff, the drugs, like weed, and
Okay, no, but we didn't say it yet. Keep going.
Okay, and so this certain someone apparently had a tray the size probably, I want to say it was half a yard in width.
So 1.5 feet.
Yeah, 1.5 feet.
1.5 feet, yeah.
And like 2 feet long.
Okay.
It was a
It's a
pan.
nice rectangle.
Yeah, full of pot brownies.
Okay.
Just walking down the middle of the street, and
This is a random guy or one of your family members?
no, random guy. But yeah. So that was one
What?
of them.
Wait, what was the?
I'm so confused with the context of
I don't
that story.
understand. Like that all sounded like the setup, but then it was over.
I don't know what else
Did
to say.
they buy the brownies?
No, they were like, "What the hell are you doing with those?" Like,
So
they were like, we didn't.
they-
we didn't,
okay,
like,
okay.
What did they say?
They were like, "Why'd you bring that?"
No, what did they say when they asked them?
Oh, they were like, "Oh, I heard you were having a party."
So okay, I think I get it.
made these.
The detail that I missed is that you said this is a random guy walking down the street, but this is the guy who called ahead and said like, "I'll bring the drugs," or is this actually a random guy?
No, this is a real guy.
No,
Well,
that's
no,
not
he's
what
a real guy.
Oh no, this guy. Yeah, he was the guy that brought the. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This podcast, it's hard for me because I'm trying to decide. Like, there was just a lot that went on this week, and I'm having a hard time.
Let's go into that. I mean,
All
No,
right,
I don't want to go into that yet. We'll go into that.
That's like a
bit.
25 minutes in type transition.
Okay, all right. That's
Yeah.
fair.
So
Because it's heavy. Like he foreshadowed a little bit to me in the parking lot today.
yeah, it was pretty sad.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
All right.
So have you guys figured out where you're going to college yet?
Yes, I'm attending the University of Missouri.
Jordan?
I'm still waiting to hear back from 2 film schools in California. So I would like to go out there, but I don't know yet.
Oh, well, let's hear about you.
So
I knew that's where this is going.
So I'm probably gonna go to Bradley or Mizzou. Recently crossed Dayton off my list just because too far away. Didn't really want to have to deal with that.
Okay.
And well, it's not really too far away. It's a lot of money. It's like $50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, you know what? I think I gotta go up to visit one of my sister's friends who's still going to Bradley.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna try to visit 2 friends that go to Mizzou.
Okay.
And well, one of my friends at Mizzou, he was in a frat at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And he was recently in town because Mizzou was on winter break.
Did you say who it was, or?
No, I don't want to say who it
Do
was.
we know?
maybe I'll tell you guys. I'll ask you afterwards. He's got a lot going for him, and I don't want to mention his name.
All right, you can ruin his potential.
So he his brother and me are pretty good friends, and I'm pretty good friends with him. And I was telling him about a certain party that happened over the summer, where his younger brother, who's in our grade, smoked a whole lot at a party. Oh, before the party.
This is a family podcast, Luke. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Finish the story. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't think this was a family podcast.
Fine, it's not. Okay, this is a teen plus podcast.
Yeah, preteen up.
Okay, so anyway, he passed out because he smoked too much.
I know who it is.
Okay.
And so when this certain person's brother was in town, I talked to him and told him about what his younger brother had done.
Of course.
And
why did you decide to do that?
Well, because he was telling me about what he did at Mizzou.
So you're a snitch.
But then,
he was telling me I got drunk and I partied a bit and did stuff, and I made it to third base for the first time as soon as I got to Mizzou.
Lamp. Oh jeez.
Okay, keep going.
So anyway, he was telling me all that, and I was like, oh well, did you know that your brother? Do you know he also not that, but
it seems like it's just a negative connotation to say it like exactly what happened. It's just like he's talking about stuff that is like, oh man, like these are all things that happened to me that are good, and then he's like, well, wait till you hear the story about your brother.
Well, but it's not like he's purposely trying to get the older one to lose respect for the younger one.
No, he's not.
It's not on purpose, but
I just forgot that I wasn't supposed to.
I think he would think it's funny.
I forgot that I wasn't supposed to tell him.
Okay.
So it just kind of slipped out that, oh yeah, your brother got high once, and I feared for his life.
Okay.
And he goes, oh, what? What are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, you didn't know that? That happened
Oh, he didn't know his brother did anything?
No.
Okay.
He also didn't know that his brother was part of a... lamp. I can't
say lamp.
I want to know what it was, though.
Can I?
No, you can just whisper. Just tell me.
No, I'm just gonna... You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna say it.
All right,
it doesn't matter.
What?
So, his brother didn't know that this certain someone was a part of a drug deal a while ago.
Okay.
I mean, he was the receiver, but he told me in detail that it was a pretty shady part of town.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say where, mainly North St. Louis.
Not gonna say where, says where.
and
says exactly where.
And he said that these two people just he went to this person's house and the person was like, oh yeah, I'll bring you to the dealer, and he they were waiting on this corner, and these two hooded guys came around the corner, grunted a bunch, handed them the drugs, and walked away.
So it went well.
No, it went terrible. He said he was scared to death.
Well, but it went well.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's scared to death and that's all that happens, then it's a success.
Yeah, I guess it was a success. But I'd never do something like that because that's just
neither would we.
crazy.
So you explained a drug deal, and nothing like really abnormal happened.
No, but his brother was pretty.
Was he upset?
He wasn't really upset. He was just like, I think it was more like he had a new respect for his younger brother.
Okay.
So you helped him out. It was you were like the hero.
I guess so. He was mad at me for a little while because he was like, what the fuck would you tell him? And told him, well, just slipped out. And yeah. Oh, I'm also, I may be applying for a job.
Where?
At Monday, or Sky Zone on Monday.
Could you get us in for free when you're working?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that would be cool.
Did you have an interview or you're gonna?
No, they do this thing where you go in and you just
hey, I want a job.
Huh?
Hey, I want a job.
Yeah, it's like they have a specific day every 3 months.
Oh, it's like prospect employee day. Do they all jump?
I think so.
Are you excited?
I'm kind of excited. I don't know because the last time I went to Sky Zone, I broke my ankle.
Well,
and that was in 3rd grade.
Okay, well that was a while ago. But is it like?
Also, my sister broke her ankle at Sky Zone.
Okay. That's why you signed the waiver.
Yeah, but okay.
Is it like all the prospect employees that are trying to get the one job?
No,
Are
like they have people
Is
graduating
it trampoline
and like
Hunger
not
Games?
being
Oh, I
able
see.
to work.
But I guess I was just envisioning a bunch of people all competing for the same job, forced to jump together. It's kind of awkward because they're like, I guess they're trying to have fun, but they're all like,
You're my competition.
Like, you're my competition for this job. It'd be like
That'd be a pretty.
it'd be
cool...
like you're applying to be, you're interviewing to be at like a lawyer at a law firm, and it's like, all right, well, everyone that applied that's gonna have their interview, let's all jump at Sky Zone.
Well, I feel like to continue the metaphor, you would remove Sky Zone and be like, let's all have a lunch together or something.
Yeah,
But
you would
so,
would think I would remove that part of the
No,
metaphor.
I'll be
But
honest.
that's the
Part of the reason why I'm working there, or I want to work there, is I got a friend that works there. His name.
Vank.
We all know him by Vank.
Is it Vank? He works there?
Yeah, he does. And he told me, I heard this from him and a certain bodybuilder I was working out with today. And
Ryan, guys.
Okay.
Would you classify him as a bodybuilder?
oh, 100%, yeah.
Is he just trying to like...
The guy
get
drinks
strong?
like 8 gallons of water a day.
Okay, yeah. Is that like a really big tip for bodybuilding?
Yeah, well, it's just, you're supposed to stay hydrated all the
Yeah,
time.
you're supposed to drink a lot of
All
water.
right,
And,
sorry to interrupt.
So, anyway, just heard from them, there's a lot of girls there that work there that are pretty attractive.
Is that,
and it's
is that part of
good
your
pay.
perspective too? To try and meet some girls there?
Oh, if it's a win-win, because they get good pay.
Is it a good
decent
pay? What's the
hours.
pay?
It's like $8.59 9, but you don't do anything really.
That's true.
So it's okay.
I just want to bring up a point, which is that our first attempt at recording this episode, it was like over an hour, and every story that Luke told and everything we talked about, some way related back to like I could feel an internal violence within him or like some evil tendencies.
And I haven't heard it except at the beginning of the Pringles story. And maybe at the end of the Pringles
No,
story.
but you'll see. Pay close attention because he doesn't notice that he does it, but everything he's going to talk about is, so far he's talked about drugs, girls, weapons, torture. It all
Oh my God, no, that's not true.
No, it is.
I would say all 4 of those things have been talked about.
Yes.
But he's also talked about other things, to be fair. We talked about college. We talked about...
Yeah, but the college went into like drinking and like ruining a relationship between 2 brothers.
What do you mean? That's straight.
No, I think they
straightened.
strengthened the
All
relationship.
right. Well, just pay attention because he's gonna try to avoid doing it.
I would
but
argue
they
that-
always get back to the violence.
I would argue that between violence and at some point like talking about girls, because that's where the Sky Zone story went.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, I feel like the girls maybe. I think my goal by the end of this recording is to get to the bottom of why Luke is evil.
I'm not evil, man.
You say that.
I'm just a guy who.
I
I mean,
think
you're
when
not
we-
evil. You're not evil.
All right.
Winks to
Invisible
recorder.
camera.
Continue.
But
I
let's
don't
keep
think-
talking.
I'm not. Okay.
I'll rephrase. I don't think you're evil, but especially once you talk about the big story, you're
Okay.
gonna realize like,
Okay.
I need to improve myself.
Yeah. I know. I need to do that. But here's the thing. We're gonna start leading into that story.
Okay.
But here's part of the reason why I think you guys think that I'm quote unquote evil.
That was a poor word. I just thought it was foreign.
Even
I'm
though-
sorry.
More aggressive.
Okay,
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Malicious?
malicious. Yeah. So my elementary and middle school years, you guys know I started wrestling at a very high level of competition and started off in 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
And elementary, fine. Everything was fine with that. Got into middle school. Thought it was going to be great. Middle school is usually a pretty hard time for people.
Yeah, because
And ended
everyone's at a different growing
point.
stage.
Yeah. And it was a very, very hard time in my life.
Okay.
I mean, at points, I'm not even joking. I did cry myself to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
That's just because of... That's not because of wrestling.
No, it wasn't because of wrestling. But
did wrestling help you through that time?
I would say it did help me through that time, but it has side effects to now. The violence part of it.
All right.
Because in 6th to 8th grade, I was extremely lonely the whole time because I didn't have, my group of quote unquote friends, they're assholes.
Yeah.
They weren't.
So do you think that's the biggest thing that contributed to?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, just didn't. never really connected, and I was always kind of like odd man out.
Okay.
And so that always had a pretty big effect on me. And always went back to like violence of wrestling and stuff, and like started to get rid of all that anger and stuff. I started wrestling and doing like sit-ups and push-ups a bunch every night, just so in case the time ever came where I needed to, physically fight someone, that I'd be capable enough, because I'm a pretty short guy, compared to...
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, so I started doing all that, and then the time finally came where, like, me and my best friend at the time started to get into it, really for no reason. I can't remember what happened.
Do you think it was like aggression over time that was built up?
It was definitely aggression over time.
Because sometimes it seems like, oh, this problem started over nothing, or maybe something that was really, really small, but in reality, it's just something that was building up.
Yeah, it was something. It built up. Definitely built up through the years. Okay. Because finally, I had kind of had enough. And he said, can't remember what happened. He made a joke, and I pushed him, and he said, "Don't ever do that again, otherwise I'll beat your ass." And I said, "I'd like to see you try." And so he came at me swinging. I can't remember.
Can I ask where this was?
It was just at a friend's house, like in the.
Was that someone's house?
Yeah, in the front lawn.
Okay.
And he came at me swinging. I think he may have like barely nicked me in the mouth, but then I punched him in the stomach and started backing away towards into the lawn, because I'm not gonna have it out there on a concrete porch.
It's a good call. Like people die by getting falling. And stuff, yeah.
And I knew him because I know this about him, and he has like really intense migraines, like really bad ones. And so what ended up happening was he followed me out into the yard and tried to throw another punch. I ducked and did a wrestling move called a head and arm, where you pretty much grab them and throw them over you.
Yeah, which is it's a very typical move in movies I see. It's like a missed punch.
You flipped him?
Other person basically tackles. Kind of like
okay. I mean, here, just stand, just so you guys get an idea. I'm not gonna.
No one else is gonna get an idea.
That's fine. That's fine. Just stand up really quick.
I don't.
Make sure you know what the audio of a head and arm sounds like.
Okay, so pretty much, it's like if you tried to
punch.
Yeah, it was like I can't even remember how it happened. It was like this. Like I moved it, stepped in like this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I can react that fast.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I don't know, it's natural for me, because it's just, like, it happens in soccer. Did I tell you guys about, I think I put this in the last podcast.
Yeah, you put someone in a headlock in soccer.
Okay, well, we'll explain. Okay, so
somebody.
little side story. In the last podcast, I shared a story about how in a club soccer game, me and this kid got into a fist fight. We both got red carded. First time I ever got a red card. It was awesome. He tried to throw a punch at me. I put him in a headlock, flipped him over me, and his head almost landed on a concrete slab. That wouldn't have been good. Thankfully, he did not get hurt. He was a bit shooken up, because I don't think he was expecting that from me. And but so yeah. Anyway, I threw this guy in a head and arm. Had him on the ground with his like neck between my bicep and forearm, and I looked at him. I mean, he was struggling. He was trying to get out of it, obviously, and at that moment, I could have just like punched him a bunch of times in the face, but instead, I got up and literally just walked away. So I don't know. That's kind of where like that whole section of my life kind of came to an end. I still talk to a few people, and that's also kind of where the big point of this podcast starts to lead into, because
are you talking about the when you punch your friend in the yard? Yeah. That moment is when you started.
No,
he's talking about the
explaining the backstory of like what I don't know.
So
I just got confused.
So that whole backstory was kind of the end. Like that was a really bad part of my life.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was always a certain person in there that I could always talk to, be myself around. And recently I started dating her, kind of. Like we kind of had a thing for a few weeks.
Can I say 2 quick points before, because this is going to be a big segment. one, I want to say like good on you for walking away because
Yeah.
that proves that like you're not evil. You have an innate goodness.
I mean, you had his life in your hands, basically.
And yeah, so I take back you're not evil. Okay.
Okay.
Two.
Thank you.
I don't know if that like really got to you, but I realized I was being a little harsh with that. Two, the reason I came to that conclusion, like, oh, you have like these violent tendencies and stuff from the first one. In the first podcast, you did not open up that, like, I didn't know you were a sad guy.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that you had these lonely years, and so I thought this was just like a part of your otherwise funny personality, but it's more serious than that. So I didn't realize that until early, like in the parking lot today.
Yeah.
And right now, so I think this is gonna be more eye opening.
Well, like, I mean, like there were times where like I'd go rock climbing. Well, I'll explain this, but I used to go rock climbing quite a bit because it was something I could do by myself and something active, and so I'd go like rock climbing by myself. I'd go to wrestling practice by myself. I'd just do pretty much everything by myself unless there was some big thing going on with my group of friends. And oh man, I can't remember what point I was trying to make. Like so you guys know I went to North originally. Northeast, yeah. And so part of the reason, my 6th grade year, that was the first year they changed the boundaries, the district boundaries. Mm-hmm. Or the year afterwards was the first year they changed the district boundaries. So technically my neighborhood was supposed to be in Central, right? Right then I could have made the switch, but I was like, well, originally I thought I'm already in North's area, already in North's area. Thought I had pretty good friends at the time and like started meeting new people. And then, we realized over the next few years just wasn't the case. And, that's like one of the main reasons why I actually went over to Central because like my life just flat out, like it sucked at North and I knew like I wasn't going to get really, I thought at the time I wasn't going to get any better than that. So yeah, that's like why I left. And now, I'm looking back on it and there's really only like one reason why I'd ever go, like I would have ever regretted that. But, all in all, like Central was probably the best decision of my life because, I got great friends.
Yeah. Champ.
Yes. Like our soccer team was amazing. I met all my best friends on the soccer team and then I met more friends like you guys through like choir and everything. And, it was like just a completely different, just a whole different change up because, I spent so much time with like this, the Noisies and all the soccer guys. And yeah, it was good. But
do you think later you're going to get into the reason that you would regret?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll get into that right now. So recently, I started dating this girl who she would be the only reason why I'd really regret it because me and this girl, we've been I'd say not best friends, but we've been pretty close friends since the beginning of elementary school, like even 1st grade.
Okay.
Like really close family friends too. Her older sister was actually like me and my older sister's babysitter for a while. So we're just really close families, right? And all throughout middle school, she's always been good to me. I've always been good to her. We've always kind of had each other's back. She's obviously, she has her own friend group, and that's all good. And occasionally, we'd hang out, and she'd go rock climbing. There was a phase where, I'd go rock climbing with her a lot in middle school, and kind of hung out with a kind of alternate group of people that I didn't really call my friends that much. But she was in it, and I mean, she was obviously a close friend of mine. And then I switched over to Central, and thought, I'll start to meet new people and stuff. And never dated anyone from Central. Not even this year. I never really even thought about dating anyone from Central. But so, anyway, this girl, like, me and her, freshman year started, and we didn't see each other too often. We saw each other, I think, once before freshman year started, and brought one of my friends and her to Six Flags, and she had a group of friends, and we just kind of, we had a good time.
Is she at North?
Yeah, she goes to North right now.
So if you didn't transfer, you'd be at her school.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's why I think, because
is the reason that you wouldn't.
that'd be the only regret that I have is like not, like wishing I had gotten closer with her throughout high school, because I don't think, I'm sure there's been guys that she's been interested in, but I don't think she's really dated barely anyone. And so, over the years, still had a hard time seeing her, didn't really see her too much, and I really regret that, because I know now, like, me and her had a thing. We didn't really have a thing, but we went on kind of like a few just kind of friendly dates over the summer, this past summer, and we never really got anywhere, but we always had a good time. Then it just kind of ended because school was starting up, and, we both go to different high schools. So then recently, we won state, and that was going great. I liked someone else at the time, then found out that kind of wasn't going to happen. And so now, I'm in a state where the moment where after you find out that a certain person doesn't like you the same way, that's like the worst state to feel. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, because it's like, at that moment, for me at least, it's just like instant memories from middle school and like loneliness and stuff, right? And those are always like the hardest days to kind of get through. And so, I thought, like, waited a bit, everything was going great, and then I was starting to come back. I guess come back would be an appropriate term. And
recover.
Yeah, recover from that, which it wasn't even that big of a blow to me, honestly. But so, I was just like, oh well, let me see if this girl,
what she's doing,
yeah, what she's doing, because me and her are pretty good friends. It didn't never.
I'm sorry, somewhere in there, were you talking about a different girl for a
yes.
second?
Yeah, because
then it didn't work out?
Yeah, it didn't work out, and I was like, nah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
So, started off, I was just like, hey, you want to try to hang out sometime? Not, like, romantically, because I hadn't talked to her in, like, a few months. Mm-hmm. But, we always, like, we'd see each other on, like, social media or something. And, eventually I was in, I can't remember where I was. It was about a week or two before finals. I was still in a sling from my broken collarbone at this point. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to be out of the sling the week of finals. You want to try to go ice skating sometime, just for fun, because right around New Year's, Christmas time, the ice rink stays open an extra,
it's
like
late.
4 hours, right? So it's open till midnight. And she said, well, I can't right now because I got studying for finals and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I got you. And she said, well, maybe we can go after finals. So went after finals, right? Went great. Really wasn't supposed to be ice skating. If I fell, I would have, probably shattered my collarbone.
Dang.
So
do it for the girl,
Yeah. I guess technically I did like really risk my future of using my shoulder that night, which I know.
Wait. We talk about the reason you were scared, the reason you didn't want to mess up the reason you didn't wrestle this year.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this is.
I thought this was so cute. No, do you know what I'm talking about? I'll say it. I think this came straight from you. I asked if you were going to wrestle this year because of your collarbone. Uh-huh. You said no because you didn't want to mess up your shoulder because you wanted to be able to play catch with your son in the future.
Oh yeah, that's pretty true. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
is it your throwing arm?
No, but it's like I wouldn't be able to like lift the glove eventually because it just as you get older, like it just be constantly weaker because. In the soccer season, very first game, I got slide tackled. I was the starting left winger. Yeah, it's a little side note. For a state championship team, no big deal. And I got slide tackled by a piece of shit player
you
from
talked
South.
about this, we know.
And so anyway, I sprained my shoulder. Then waited like a week or two. Even though the first doctor we went to. He was like, yeah, it looks like it's fractured, but we won't know for a little while. You have to wait 10 days. And I was like, well, I need to know now so I can start playing again. But there's bruising all over my chest.
Ooh.
Really probably shouldn't have played. But I came back a week later or 2 weeks later and was like, I'm fine. You know, it hurts just a little bit to move like this. It hurt quite a bit.
But it turns out it was broken the whole time.
Well, that's not what they think. They think, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was fractured the first time it happened, but it got worse this next time because as soon as I started practicing again, you know, everything's going great. We started playing this one scrimmaging drill. A player, center midfielder, he took out my ankles and I landed right on my collarbone.
Yeah, that
and was so pissed off that had happened because I played it as safe as I possibly could, and it still happened, and it hurt so bad. I practically pushed past our head coach and was like, "Fucking hell!" and flipped over through a chair against the fence on the upper field. It got pretty mad. I was not happy.
Had you told me that story before we started talking about like the reasons why, I would have pointed to the fact that you threw a chair to cope as like, oh, you wanted to throw something and like all the aggression and stuff.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense in that case because you're mad and hurt and adrenaline.
Well, and the real reason like I was so upset was because, you know, it's my senior year and I didn't want to miss the whole soccer season. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up...
You also don't want to be like injured during your senior year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It just sucks.
Yeah. But so, anyway, we went to the doctor, a different doctor. He said he doesn't think it's he said it looks like you still have a pretty bad sprained shoulder. So, you know, that all we went through it, came back a week later, way earlier than I should have. And I had only missed like 4 games and ended up playing the whole season, one state on it. Then we went back into the doctor because it hurt throughout the whole season, fairly bad. And the doctor's like, oh, shit, you still have a fractured collarbone. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much why I can't do wrestling, because he said if I would have played on it a bit more, if I would have fallen on it or something, it would have pretty much had permanent damage my whole life. So... Wow. Yeah, and so back to this girl, you know, we went ice skating, risked it with her, and when I went skiing in Montana, pretty stupid.
That's a lot worse. That's way.
No, but I'm so much better at skiing. Like, trust me, I didn't even fall once, and we went skiing for like 7 hours.
Okay. Rock.
But if you fell,
if I would have hit a tree or something, you know, it would have been bad.
You probably would. Okay, just continue.
So anyway, you know, everything was going great, and I was starting to realize, like, at that moment, like, you know, every time we've ever hung out, it's always been perfect. Like, everything's been great.
This is the main girl, right?
Yeah, main girl. She's very cute. She has this thing with her eyes, right? Her eyes are really light blue. I mean, like, they're not like, you know, like sky blue, but they're like Hawaii. I mean, this sounds a bit weird, but like Hawaiian ocean blue.
Okay.
Wow.
Because like, just specifically in Hawaii, like they have this really pretty eyes. But then on her left eye, about a quarter of it or a third of it is like brown. Just the coolest, prettiest thing I've ever seen. And so, I don't know, I really, really liked her. And, you know, while we were ice skating at like, I don't know, like 11 o'clock, midnight, you know, somewhere around there, and just started to realize, you know, like this girl, like I would rather, like I'd like to spend a lot of time with her, and, you know, I'd like to date her for a long time if I could, because it's just every time, like I've always been able to go back to her and everything's fine. So we ended up going to Insomnia Cookies later that night at like 1:30, like 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. And finally got her back home and was like, oh, we should do this again sometime. And so week went by, she couldn't hang out the next week. Another week went by, and she could. And we were like, oh, well, you want to go see a movie? And so I think we dated for, like, not really dated, because we only went on like three or four solid dates. And
did she know that they were dates?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know.
We'll keep telling you, and then
I don't know, because so we went second date, by far probably one of the worst dates I've ever had. Like we both had a fantastic time because it was just us. I told you about this. It was us just driving around for 3 hours.
I've done that, dude.
Yeah, it's fun because it's just you and her talking the whole time, and because our movie like got sold out, so we weren't able to go, and so we ended up going to downtown Kirkwood because I've been there before, and I thought, oh, you know what, that's pretty nice. Yeah, well, it's only nice if there's nice weather because it was -2 that night.
Oh my god!
and so there's like nothing to do down there unless you walk around to different shops.
Turn around.
Oh no, we got down there and we were like, oh, there's an Andy's frozen custard.
You got ice cream in -2 weather?
Yeah, we stayed in the car with the heat running and just ate ice cream.
That's cute. I think that's a good memory.
Yeah, it's a great memory because we were pretty cold at first, and then we saw like a coffee shop before Andy's, and we were like, oh hey, we should go in there. And she looked it up as soon as we parked. I like started opening the door, and she's like, oh shoot, it closes at 8:30 and it's 9 o'clock. And I was like, there's no way this day could get any worse.
Oh, geez.
And so finally, we finished ice cream, took her back home, and we're sitting out front of her house. And I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, like, I should try to make the move because I really, I just really like her. And I was like thinking about it the whole time, and I'm just like, there's no way I can make the move. This was a shitty date. And so I was like, you know what? We're going to have to go see that movie again. How about next weekend? And she said, yeah, we can work on something. Never once did I ever get like the feeling that she wasn't that interested. I thought like, I didn't know if it was just we had a really good friendship, but I wanted it to be more than something. And I don't think she knew that up until our next date, because the next date we saw a fantastic musical. And then, I parked outside her house, and we were just kind of talking for a bit, and I was just like, can I just kiss you? Like, and so we kissed first time, or not like my first kiss, but
Oh, Luke.
First time with her.
Yeah, first time with her, and I was like, wait, like, I don't normally mess up the first move, but I did a pretty bad kiss that time. And I was like, hold on.
You don't need the details. But...
Well, I was like, hold on. That was terrible. Let's do that again. And so...
Did she go back in?
Yeah, she went back. Yeah, so she went back in. And then she was getting out of the car, and I was like, oh, we'll have to do this again sometime. She was like, yeah, for sure. She left. And then, we kept Snapchatting a little bit. The next day, everything was fine. And then came Wednesday of this week, right?
Okay. 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Today's Friday. People on podcast.
Yeah, it's very recent, and it still hits me pretty hard because, I Snapchatted her on, I don't know, like Sunday or Monday or something like that while I was rock climbing, and was talking to her, and everything was going great. And she opened one, didn't respond, and I was like, oh, that's kind of typical because, she doesn't Snapchat as much, I don't think. And so then the next day, I was kind of nervous because she still hadn't responded, and I was getting people's opinions, and they were like, oh, I think you should just talk to her. So I texted her during the school day, let me remind you. So this is pretty hard.
This is the day later?
This is when, no, it's like 2 days later.
No, it's like 4.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of random for it to happen 4 days afterwards, right?
No response.
Yeah, no, like she responded, like it was just, there was like a day where she like didn't respond, but it was just weird that it was 4 days after. Normally if you feel that way, like you'll tell them like right away, so 4 days after, I'm thinking, well, we're sitting pretty comfortable, like this is right when everything starts to get better, and it just got worse because I texted her and was like, hey, I'd been talking to a few friends who are currently dating, and was like, hey, you want to get dinner and then go over to my friend's house? Like, they're all having some people over, and some of them want to meet you. Or not, I didn't really say that, but like that's kind of what I was implying. And she said, no, I can't. And I said, well, okay, like, you want to try to do something else then? And she said, Luke, I mean, you and me, like, we're good friends, and I think you want to try to be more than that. And I'll be honest, at first, I wanted to respond.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's extremely confusing. Like, I just didn't get it. Like, I hadn't messed up or done anything wrong.
The only reasonable explanation I can think of is that, like, she thought everything. She thought she wanted to kiss you that night, and she thought that she wanted to, like, you know, give it a chance with you, and then she just thought about it. Like, I mean, that's not the only explanation, but it seems like it was more of like it took a little bit of time to sink in, and then, I mean, you could think about it in a positive way as, like, she was worried she would just lose you as, like, a best friend because you've been so good to her.
Well, and I don't think it was something negative, like, and like there was someone else or something like that.
I feel that just because it's like, I mean, you know in your mind, it's like, oh man, maybe we don't want to lose this friendship. But it's like, but now that you said that,
Can't be the same.
it will never be the same.
That's
So
happened to me.
it's tricky because once you start going down that path, that
it's hard to get out.
I mean, to quote John Mayer, it's either your friends, lovers, or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
It can only be one. It's a quote, John Mayer.
Nice.
Song called Friends, Lovers, or Nothing. But
iTunes and Spotify now.
Yeah.
Today.
My point is that it's like once you make that first move, it's almost irreversible. At that point, friends
That's
is
why
gone.
it's such a big
It's
deal
lovers
to
or
make
nothing.
the first move.
And it's sad. It's sad that it has to be that way. And once you meet a girl that you and yourself that you could both somehow be friends afterwards.
Yeah.
That's when it's cool. That's when you know you have that's when you know you have a keeper as a friend.
Yeah.
Is where you try and make something of it, and afterwards you both mutually agree that you guys would rather be friends, and since then it works out.
But it usually
does not.
Well, no, usually it's not mutual, really. Like
exactly.
Well, I think with this girl, like, I think that's a very good possibility that could happen, just because I've known her for so long, and I'll be honest, like, ever since like she said that, you know, I'm thinking like, how can I like recover from this and like make everything good with her again? And I was thinking like, well, you know, eventually, a few months pass, I can tell her, you know, I'm kind of over like whatever I had, and we can like, would you want to go to prom or something? You know, just as friends though.
Yeah,
and
I'm not saying that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
it just all really depends.
Yeah.
Like how cool she's gonna be about it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing though. Like, I don't really know how to describe it because she said pretty much what I kind of got from it was it's not the right time for her, which I've been told. I mean, that could mean a few things. One of them could be like she's getting over someone or has feelings for someone else, which I don't think is true because I feel like she would have told me or not have kissed me also. Yep. But the other one is she doesn't have time. Like she just flat out doesn't have time.
That makes sense because it's sometimes you're in a situation where it's like, you know, you like someone and you like them a pretty good amount. It's not like you're in love with them.
Yeah.
But it's like you know that maybe they live a little far away. And maybe not in this specific sense.
But I've been there before.
You live a little far away,
like an hour or two.
And also you're busy, and also you have all this stuff going.
Yeah.
And you can't make the time commitment to keep the relationship going, and that's the hardest when you know that you guys are pretty into each other.
Well, it's also like, you know, I don't know personally how, you know, interested she was in me. I think she was enough, you know, that she'd let me like, you know, kiss her.
Yeah.
But also, you know, it's like our senior year. We're all about to go away, start new lives. And that's a hard thing to deal with at a time like this, just because you don't really want to start anything up. And then 3 months go by and it's like, could be like in the heart of the relationship.
It's a scary time.
Yeah, and then it's just, you know, like I'm going, like you're going to be 7 hours away from me.
Do you know where she's going?
She wants to go to Missouri, UMKC.
Okay.
But if that doesn't,
or something.
Yeah, if that doesn't work, then she's going to Mizzou.
Got it.
And you know, honestly, like I've really tossed this around because she like, there's certain. Have you guys ever felt like that? There's that one person in your life that you think, you know, out of everyone you've ever dated or anything, you can like you think that maybe, just maybe in the long run, it would work between you two.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's pretty much how I felt about her. Because, you know...
Mm-hmm. I'll say I've felt like that, and you said, I don't know if you already said it on here, but you said, like, there's no one else who you would feel that way about.
Yeah.
But, like, I felt that same way too. I was like, there's absolutely no way anybody else can make me feel this way. But then, like, as the years go by, it's happened 2 more times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like it's weird to think that like you could feel something right now, and then in 2 years you could be like feeling this with a completely different person, or even like.
But that's the probability.
That's
because you're not going to get married at 17.
I mean, yeah.
That's the thing though. Like,
isn't that weird though?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean, people in our grade have been dating for 2-3 years. Some of them longer, and it feels like, oh man, you know, these two people, they're definitely going to get married. But
then if they go away,
but you know, they're planning on not going to the same school and not like being in the same place. So it's like all things come to an end eventually.
Yeah. And that's the sad thing about, like, you know, moving on from high school is like, you know, I got all these great people. I'll probably see them, you know, every time I come back from
see them. I mean,
yeah, I know, but I'll probably see them like every time I come back from winter break, Thanksgiving break. But then, you know, once you graduate high school, I was telling a good friend of mine who Emily Currington, I'm going to KOH with, you know, happened to my sister when she was in high school. She went away, same thing happened, and she's living in Michigan now.
Your sisters?
Hardly ever sees any of her friends. Same thing happened to my dad. You know, he has 2 close best friends from high school that he sees maybe once or twice every 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
so are you saying you're
afraid of that?
You're worried of this again?
Yeah, I mean, I knew this moment was going to come ever since, like, I don't know, ever since freshman year. I've always thought about it.
Here's the thing. You decide your own life. So even after college, you could think, I could stay in St. Louis where odds are there's a bunch of people that I know here and I can stay friends with them. But I feel like when people decide to make these decisions to go to Michigan, to move away, to not reconnect with friends, it's not like they're being forced into a decision. It's their mental decision. And it's kind of like when you do something right now and you think, how would my 12-year-old self think of what I'm doing right now, you know? Odds are maybe they wouldn't like it and they'll think like, well, that's weird, I didn't envision myself doing this. But your mind changes, you know? Eventually you're going to be like, I know my friends are here, but my life is taking me in this direction. You have to go in the direction your life goes. Yeah. It wants to take you, you know?
Yeah. Well, like, back to this girl, like, that's the thing, like, with her, you know, I know me and her are both going to completely different schools. I don't know how she's feeling about it right now. You know, I'm sure I made an impact on her because, one, I know most of her friends, and you know how on Snapchat, like, you can see how their score or whatever.
Yeah, score.
Yeah. So, you know, she doesn't Snapchat too often. I'd say like 20 to 30 a day. Well, most recently, it went up to 300 in the past 2 days.
Okay.
So what's
like
the conclusion?
I'm just like saying, like, you know, I must have made some sort of impact on her.
I mean,
what's the correlation there? Like, you made her like branch out and talk to more people?
No, like she was talking.
To you.
No, like,
what you're trying to say?
No, like she talked to her friends. Like what I'm thinking is, obviously I have no way of telling, but I'm just wondering, like, was she talking to her friends about like what she should do, or telling them like how she's feeling and stuff about it?
There's not really a way to know, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I must have had some sort of impact, because you can't just, you know, randomly, you know, jump up that much.
Go off the Snapchat numbers. There's multiple.
Yeah.
She could have met new friends.
The data of life.
But so, I mean, I don't know. Like,
the data of life.
With her, it was just always different, because I can always be myself around her, and that's what I liked about her. And I don't know. I've always, like, recently I've been debating, like, you know, obviously I'm not going to wait for her because we're going to different schools. If she meets someone or I meet someone, you know, that's obviously not going to work. But in a year, or even like 6 months from now, when we're in like Thanksgiving break or something, you know, and we come back and see each other, you know, like, maybe she'll be ready then. But I just don't know what to do about it, because this is like that feeling that I was talking to you guys about before. Like, that moment when someone says, you know, they're not interested the same way as you are, it's like probably the loneliest you can ever feel. And at one point, you know, I was okay with that in middle school because I was so used to it. But now it's like I don't want that. And sometimes, you know, I think like, you know, maybe she's like one of the ones, maybe she is one that, you know, is worth fighting for to like try to keep.
Here's, as you talked, I had like a bunch of thoughts and advice go through my head. I'm going to try to remember most of them. The first one is like, it sounds like you think that your life's biggest opportunity sort of passed up, and we already talked about like it most likely will just happen again.
Yeah.
But the faster that you can get your mindset to, I'm not actively looking for someone to like replace this person, but I'm not going to shut out.
I'm content without them. And is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say like you don't have to go out and look for the next girl who's gonna like do this for you.
Yeah.
But the faster you can realize like there might be someone else that makes me this happy. You're gonna meet them, and you might have already known them for months or years, and all of a sudden you're gonna realize like I really enjoy spending time with this person, and you're gonna have like an eye opening. I feel like once you're ready. Yeah. Like, you can't move on unless you tell yourself that you're ready to move on. So, it's fine if you're taking the time to, like, be upset because it's an upsetting thing. And it's fine if you feel lonely because it makes you feel lonely. But all I'm saying is, like, the faster you just come to terms with, like, I'm not going to feel this way forever, the faster you can reverse it.
And, I mean, I've already started to get to that. But one of the things that is hardest about it is because I'm not doing any sports anymore because I kind of ended my high school, really my whole sporting career with soccer, and that was like...
You don't think you're going to play any intramurals or something?
No, I'll probably play that, but like, I mean, that's not really sports. Like, I won't have to practice for that, and I don't know. Because of that, like, that just makes everything that I'm going through right now way worse than it.
Because you're not doing any sports or anything?
Yeah, so I have nothing to get my mind off it. And so that's why I've, like, went back to kind of, like, what's happened in middle school where I, like, work out a bunch and, you know, just always want to, like, I don't know, like, throw something just because of wrestling.
The other thing...
And it's not, like, I'm not angry at her, but it's just, like, I'm just frustrated that it didn't work out because it's, like, you know, what do you do? What do you do now? Like, what else? Literally, like, I have debated this my whole senior year since after soccer.
Okay.
It was like, what else is there? Like, what else is there to do in high school besides get it over with? There's literally nothing. There's nothing
besides
left.
get it over with?
Yeah, like there's literally nothing else.
I see why you say that because you're frustrated and because you're in a sucky situation, but you're incorrect that there's nothing you can do besides wait to go to college.
I feel how you're feeling of like, I just want to I want to get through this stage of high school. I want to move on to college, but I feel like there's a lot more to savor, you know, in high school.
Yeah, and
just think about.
But there's like, I know, like there's like your friends, you know, probably won't see them again for a while or like large spans of time.
But you're making yourself more sad by thinking like that when realistically you're going to see them multiple times over the next year if you come home.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just hard to think about because it's. I don't know.
So, like, to sort of wrap it up, we'll try to go to, like, a higher note, better note.
Yeah, this was kind of pretty sad.
But you said earlier, like, I was like, you don't have to talk about this, and you said, I want to talk about it, or I need to talk about it.
Yeah,
and
just really, like, I've had a lot of, I don't think my parents know too much about it, but I think I've had quite a lot of, like, personal, like, anger problems and bottled stuff up. When, you know, probably when, like, my mom or someone would ask, like Luke, everything wrong? And instead of me just saying, no, I'm just tired, I probably should have told them, you know, like, what's up, because...
I think it's a hard situation to bring up to your parents exactly how you feel all the time. Yeah. Because sometimes, I mean, I know with my parents, you think my dad knows what's the best thing to say to me?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's... Sorry to interrupt, but the thing is, like... Nobody knew this about you, Luke. Like, I don't know if you told any of your other friends.
No,
but
I don't think too many.
That's what I'm saying. Until today, we didn't know that you weren't just like a happy, like run around, energetic dude.
I think there's a lot to figure out about everyone.
Yeah.
You know, there's stuff behind doors that happens, and no one really knows the whole story about someone.
So I respect you for like, talking about it, especially on a recording that's going to get published. But I mean, so here's what I want to ask you. You addressed a couple problems like frustration with the girl, loneliness, feeling like you have nothing to do until you go to college.
But I mean, I just to clarify, like, I'm not like in a lonely state anymore. Right now I am, but you know, I have my friends now, so
Yeah.
that's like just probably why I'm always pretty happy. But it's still like those lonely times that like come back to just kind of haunt me.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted you to think about like what's the first thing you could do to like change it in the right direction, like to start feeling better.
I don't know. Something that I could probably change is just like, you know, I really don't know, because I'm not really lonely too much anymore until like this stuff happens. But it still like comes back to get me, and I don't really know what to do about that. Because everyone from middle school, you know, I don't think they've really changed that much. So even now, it's still hard to like go up to see people I haven't seen in 4 years and be like, oh, okay, like, how's North? You know, because I just don't know what they're gonna say and whether they're gonna treat me with like aggression or I just don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah. Oh no, they wouldn't. But it's just very short.
I think
to the point conversations.
Yeah, but I think that someone you haven't seen in a long time. I've seen an example of someone that was kind of on the outskirts of our friend group at Central, and when he moved away, every time he would come back, it would be like there was always something to talk about with him, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe when he was here every day, there wasn't something to talk about all the time, and maybe it was a little awkward around him. But when you don't see him after a long time, there's some stuff that, you catch up with him.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something that you could do.
Yeah. Or with these certain people, it's like, it's just almost like they just don't want to hear anything about it. I think part of it is because they just don't want to, I don't know. I just don't really know how to relate to them. And so I think what I've started to do is just slowly like cut certain people, not really anyone at Central, but mainly people from North and a few other schools. Slowly, like I've started just cutting them completely out of my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's gotten a lot better for me, because I know like if I ever got into it with someone, most of my friends would have my back if I ever needed it. So
that's good. The other thing I'll say, like I have felt lonely. Like there was like a weird like 2 or 3 months like freshman year where I felt like I was the one like getting kicked out of the friend group because it kind of like rotated a little bit. Not like that, but I just felt like I wasn't really like not fitting in, but I just wasn't like in. I wasn't like I don't know, but I felt just like a little excluded. But I thought it was my own fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just like I was just being a little socially awkward, and I don't know. But that's when I learned to like I became really good friends with myself, and like I used to say like if somebody locked me in my own room for like weeks, I would probably come out completely fine, because like I like thinking. Assuming I had a laptop or something, I really can entertain myself, and sometimes I choose to stay home when everybody's hanging out and just like relax and hang out, and do things that I like to do. But the other thing I was gonna say is I always have something to do, so I don't feel this like loneliness that like I don't have time to sit and think like I'm frustrated or I'm lonely, because I'm like I want to play video games right now. So even if I'm by myself, I'm happy doing whatever I'm doing. So like I would recommend, like you said, rock climbing, working out and stuff. Find something that you like. It doesn't even have to be alone. Like Jacob and I, my friend and I, we started trying to beat a Mario game all the way through.
Speedrun.
I guess a speedrun. We just sit down, I come up, we sit down, we turn on the Wii, and we just try to see how far we can get. And that's like something to look forward to.
Yeah. And
it's like you're just gonna appreciate the little experiences like that. Like I remember when we tried to beat Mario as fast as we could. And like if you find little things to bond with, like all your friends and stuff, one at a time, and even with yourself, like I think you'll be in a good place.
Yeah, and I try to, but it's just like I don't know. when I try to be really active and I just can't do stuff like outside right now.
Yeah, I feel
Can't really go out when it's fucking cold as
Now
shit.
it's nice.
So
It's nice out today.
yeah, it's nice out today, but just stuff. I don't know. Anyway,
I have a good maybe wrap it up topic. Have you? I know this is really really off topic, but
we're kind of
we're done with
ending that.
All right,
that
I'm
whole
glad we
spiel.
talked about it, bro.
Have you played the new Fortnite update?
No.
Do you play Fortnite?
Yes, but I haven't yet to play it, and it won't happen tonight. I know because I gotta go over to a friend's house to talk about a skiing trip. But
You're risking your
Specific,
shoulder
yeah.
again.
it's gonna happen over spring break, so I got some time.
Nice.
It's January
Spring break.
19th, everyone.
So you're gonna play this update in 2.5 months?
No,
No,
like,
he's
it won't
skiing.
happen.
Oh.
Yeah, it won't happen tonight, the Fortnite thing. But
Maybe tomorrow.
tomorrow, I gotta
Fortnite.
check out the Tilted Towers.
Yeah.
Towers with the snobby.
Snobby Shores is
Snobby
cool.
Shores.
Fortnite is this game that we're like every kid is obsessed with, especially at our school. Really everywhere. It's a really good game. It's like the
Yeah.
Hunger Games. They just updated the map, so there's a bunch of new
It's-
cities to
it's-
fly into.
It's a 100-person
Battle
fight
Royale.
to the death
Yeah,
with one winner, unless you're in a squad of 4.
and people are going crazy this week because they updated the map for the first time in a long time,
Just a little background.
maybe ever. Yeah. So that
I guess that wraps it up then.
yeah. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that was interesting. I actually thought that was really interesting. So also to wrap it up, like you're not evil at all, dude. You're a fragile guy. Like, I'm sensitive,
We
but like,
conquered the mind of Luke.
I think we did. This
the
is
enigma of Luke. We entered.
Yeah. I
his
still
brain.
got a few tricks up. my
well,
sleeve.
maybe we'll have an episode.
I'd like
too.
to think you do.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, thank you for listening, and keep checking back to the website or SoundCloud or wherever you're listening to this for more updates if this one goes well.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking about
Maybe-
that with us, Luke.
Third time. Maybe eventually I'll come back on for a third show,
Okay.
and it will be called Luke's Trio. With the first one probably not being able to be even in the package deal because
Only on the DVD.
there was a lot of stuff said that will never be put out there on the internet. So
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mitch. I hope that was entertaining for you guys. Let me know if you're still listening, which nobody is because nobody goes on my website. Tweet at Wild Wolf Films with all no vowels. Tweet like some whatever you want to hear us talk about on the next episode of the podcast. That'd be cool. Or comment on this post on the website. See you guys soon. Peace out. Thanks for listening again. Bye.